Luca, look what I'm doing. So, I pour a clear solution of magnesium sulfate in a big cup. Then, I add some sodium carbonate solution into the same container and here it goes.
Ooh, magic!
Do you know what happened?
Of course I do. It's a chemical reaction between two soluble salts that forms a solid soluble salt.
So you should be able to tell me the formula of the salt we have just produced. Magnesium carbonate, obviously.
Obviously. So, yes. While I was drinking my coffee yesterday, the cat jumped onto the table and spilled it on my notebook, so I can't do it. But you, show me what it is.
Well, what happened is a precipitation reaction, and the formula of the insoluble salt is MgCO3.
Yeah, I was thinking about the same stuff.
Oh, sure.
Really funny, Luca and Daisy. But now, let's see the aim of this experiment. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to answer the following questions. What happens in a chemical reaction? What is a precipitation reaction? How do you write an ionic equation? What do you mean by spectator ions? When a chemical reaction takes place, reactant atoms and molecules interact to form products with different chemical properties. Chemical bonds between some atoms in the reactants are broken, and new bonds between the atoms are formed. So, a chemical reaction involves changing one chemical substance into another chemical substance with different properties that depend on the arrangement of the atoms in the new compound. As you know, some chemical compounds dissolve in water and some don't. If a compound is made up of insoluble ion combinations, then the substance will not dissolve in water. For this reason, it is said to be insoluble. If the compound is made up of soluble ion combinations, it will dissolve in water, and it is said to be soluble. Two solutions of soluble salts can be added to each other and may create a solid substance that is called a precipitate. A precipitation reaction occurs when the cations of one reactant and the anions of a second reactant found in aqueous solutions combine to form an insoluble ionic solid called a precipitate. Most precipitates are formed in a double replacement reaction. A double replacement reaction is when the ions in two compounds exchange places with each other in an aqueous solution. AB plus CD react together to form AC plus BD, where A, B, C and D are all ions. To write the reaction that describes what has happened at the level of atoms, you have to identify the reactants, products, ions, precipitate, and identify where they are in the equation. In the experiment carried out by Luca and Daisy, the reactants are two soluble salts, magnesium sulfate and sodium carbonate, and the product precipitate is magnesium carbonate, an insoluble salt. So, the solution of magnesium sulfate contains Mg2+ and SO4 2- soluble ions, and the solution of sodium carbonate contains Na+ and CO3 2- soluble ions. When these clear solutions are mixed, a white cloudiness appears because a new insoluble salt forms, which is called precipitate. So, the product precipitate is magnesium carbonate, and the product soluble ions are Na+ and SO4 2-. The precipitation reaction is MgSO4 plus Na2CO3, which react together to form MgCO3 plus Na2SO4. This is the complete ionic equation. In this precipitation reaction, Mg2+ reacts with CO3 2-, and both exchange places with the other ions, Na+ and SO4 2-. Since the new salt is insoluble, a white precipitate of MgCO3 will form. In the complete ionic equation, Na+ and SO4 2- ions are present on both sides of the equation. These are called spectator ions because they remain unchanged throughout the reaction, so they do not take part in the chemical reaction. Since they go through the equation unchanged, they can be eliminated to show the net ionic equation, which is Mg2+ plus CO3 2- react together to form MgCO3. Now, it's your turn. Using the knowledge gained in this video lesson and using the solubility rules chart, try to list 3 solution combinations that will create a precipitate and 3 that won't. Bye bye and enjoy yourselves!